Okay, so today we are going to do a collaboration. So it's me and Abdallah tutoring, and we are going to go through how fractions work. Stay tuned. So hello, welcome to this video. We are going to do a collaboration today on how fractions work. I'm going to go work with my good friend here, Abdallah Tutoring, which is right up here. You can see the link there. And we're going to go through exactly how to work with fractions. So I'm going to do some work on adding and subtracting fractions, whereas Abdallah Tutoring is going to do the work on multiplying and dividing fractions. And I've always said this, it's very, very useful to get as many different ways of explaining a topic as possible. So hopefully then something clicks, and that's really, really important. So really looking forward to this, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so let's get starting on adding and subtracting fractions. Now let's get a really easy situation out the way. So when we have the same denominator, so the denominator is the bottom of that fraction, then it's very, very easy to do. So when we get 1/5 and then we add 2/5 of it, then we just get 3/5. So notice we add the top numbers, but we leave the bottom number the same. And if you think of this in terms of pizza, this always works very well. So this here would be my 1/5, this here would be my 2/5, and if we add those together, we then get 3/5, yeah, 3 sections of the pie. So this lends itself very nicely to these questions. So if we do 3/7 plus 2/7, remember, we leave the bottom number the same, but then we just add the top numbers. So 3 plus 2 is 5. And if we do this one over here, we do the same thing. So we've got the same bottom number, so we leave that the same, and then we just add the top. So 1 plus 5 is 6. But we have to be careful. So if we get a fraction like this, remember, we always need to simplify. Now, what does simplify mean? Well, we need to find a number that goes into both. And see that 2 goes into 6 and 2 goes into 8 because they're both even numbers. And so if we divide top and bottom by 2, now that's allowed of course because we're not changing the fraction. Well, 6 divided by 2 is 3, 8 divided by 2 is 4. So we always need to look for the opportunity to simplify if we can. Now, subtracting is exactly the same. So the same bottom number. So we keep this as a 3. And then we've got 2 minus 1 is equal to 1. And here again, we have to watch for that simplifying. So we've got the same bottom number, 10. So we're going to put that at the bottom. And then 7 minus 5 is equal to 2. And again, we can also see that these are both even numbers. So we can divide 2 top and bottom to get it in its simplified form. So 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1. 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. We've got our 4 correct answers here. If you need to practice this concept, I put a few questions down below. So I'd pause the video at this point and then see if you can answer those questions correctly. Well, hopefully you did that. I'll just give you the answers. You've got 4/5. We have, well, this is the same as the example, isn't it? So that's helpful. So that's 3/4. This one will be 2/5, so 4/10 goes to 2/5. And then this one, well, we can write this as 9/7. Or if you've done some work on fractions, and this is not the topic of today's video, we can actually write this as 1 and 2/7 as well. Well done if you got that very last question. I didn't teach you that skill in this particular video. Now, where this gets a bit trickier is when we don't have the bottom number the same. So here, for example, we've done a question like this already. We know that 2/5 plus 1/5, because the bottom number's the same, if I try and put them together, exactly, you get 3/5 and it works. Excellent. Whereas in this one, notice the bottom numbers are not the same. So if I try the same thing and let it go, boom, I can't actually add those fractions together. If you get this one, again the same thing. Do we have the bottom number the same? No, we don't. Boom! So there goes my fraction. And I got this one. Well, what do we think here? Bottom number is both 40, so we can add those together and get 31 out of 40. So if the denominators are different, this is the most important fact to realise, you can't add them straight away. So we're going to do a few examples to show what we would do in this situation. So if we take our first question here, notice the bottom number is not the same. However, we can take the second fraction, the 1/5, and unsimplify it. What do I mean by this? Well, let me just write this on the side here. And remember, I can do the same top and bottom, it doesn't change the fraction. So bear with me, if I times by 2, top and bottom, which doesn't change what the fraction is, 1 times 2 is equal to 2, 5 times 2 is equal to 10. So notice I can rewrite this fraction as 2 over 10. They're the same thing. 1/5 of a pizza is the same as 2/10 of a pizza. So I can rewrite this question as 3/10. I'm going to leave that alone. And I'm just going to change the 1/5 here to 2 over 10 because it's exactly the same thing. And now the rule does apply. The bottom number is the same. So I can just add this in the same way we did before. 3 plus 2 is 5. The bottom number stays the same. And don't forget to simplify. So we can divide top and bottom by 5 here. Just like that. And we get 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Don't forget you're simplifying. Very, very important. And again, subtracting works in exactly the same way. So we want to change one of the fractions to the other. So notice we've got a 4 here. We need to make that bigger, just like we did the 5 to 10. So we ask ourselves the same question. If I take 3/4 and I times top and bottom by 2, just going to sneak in here. Well, 3 times 2 is equal to 6. 4 times 2 is equal to 8. So I can rewrite the first fraction here, the 3/4, as 6 over 8. And as soon as I achieve this, you can then see here, the bottom is the same, so I can do this in the normal way. 6 minus 1 is 5, and I get 5 over 8, like so. So using the same technique, have a go at the questions below. Again, pause the video, it's the best way to do it. Give yourself, I'd say about 6-7 minutes on this, no longer than that, and really get some consolidation on this important topic. Okay, hopefully you did this. I'm going to give you the answers here. So we have 5 over 10, which is equal to 1 over 2. So yeah, I can do these pretty fast. B, this is going to be 5 over 8. This one here is going to be, it's another simplifying one. So it's another 5 over 10, which is a half. And this one, we're going to times this by 3, so we get 5 over 9. Yeah, if you practice this enough, you can be as quick. And this one will be 4 over 12, which is equal to 1 over 3. And then our last one here, that's going to be 5 over 15, so we're going to get 7 over 15, which doesn't simplify. Okay? Again, if you do this enough, you can get as quick as this. Okay? It is not impossible by any means at all. Right, now sometimes we can't change one fraction into the other, and that's kind of irritating. So the way we get around this is by changing both of the fractions. And we're going to use something that you probably learned earlier in your mathematical career. So we're going to take the bottom number here, 4 and 3, and we're going to find the LCM of 3 and 4. Now, what does that actually mean? So we're going to look for the first number that are in both times tables. So if I write the times tables here, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, I'm going to stop there. I'll write the 4 times table, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. And you see the first number they share, and the first number they share is 12. Okay, there's a quick reminder of LCM. So I can write both of these fractions in terms of 12. This is the key idea. So if we have a 4 here, what do I multiply 4 by to get to 12? Well, I multiply by 3. So I need to multiply this fraction, top and bottom, by 3. Well, 4 times 3 is 12. The bottom is dealt with. 1 times 3 is 3. This fraction we have to times by something different. So we look at the 3, we look at the 12. What do you multiply 3 by to give you 12? That's by 4. And then 2 times 4 is equal to 8. So we're doing the same process we did in the last slide, but having to change both fractions. And as soon as we have it in this form, we can just add them in the normal way. So 12 on the bottom stays the same. 3 plus 8 is 11. And we have our answer. And subtraction works in exactly the same way. So we're going to look for the LCM of 5 and 4. You do the same thing. If you do this in your mind, that's absolutely fine as well, of course. You write your times tables out if you need to. And you look for the first number they share, which is going to be, it's going to be 20. Okay, so we're going to write both out of 20. And remember we're minusing, don't forget the minus in there. We'll talk about that at the end. Again, we do the same procedure. So we look at this fraction. What do we multiply the 5 by to give us 20? Well, that's going to be 4. 4 times 2 is equal to 8. Then we take the quarter here. What do you multiply the 4 by to give you 20? That's going to be 5. 1 times 5 is 5. And one of the biggest mistakes I see at this point is that people think to add and not subtract. They forget about the sign in the middle. So remember, the 20 stays the same at the bottom. And then we do 8 minus 5, which is equal to 3. And we have our answer. So I hope you've enjoyed this primer on adding and subtracting fractions. I will now hand you over to Abdallah to go through multiplying and dividing fractions. Have fun.
Hello guys, and welcome to today's video where I'm doing a standalone lesson on multiplying and dividing with fractions. So in the first section we're looking at multiplying fractions, and then in the second section we'll be looking at dividing fractions. And the first section is split up by multiplying fractions with whole numbers and then multiplying fractions with fractions, okay? Right guys, this video was recorded on Thursday the 22nd of July 2021, right? So multiplying fraction with whole numbers. So question 1, I've got 3/8 multiplied by 2. Now when I multiply a fraction by a whole number, all I do is just multiply the whole number by the numerator. So I'm going to have 3 times 2 and the 8 stays the same. So it's multiply the top number by the whole number. Okay, so multiply the numerator by the whole number of my fraction. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 out of 8, which I can simplify to 3/4 because they are both even numbers. So I can divide top and bottom by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 2 is my highest common factor of 6 and 8. Okay. So that's how we simplify fractions. So sometimes fractions will simplify, sometimes they will not always simplify. 1/5 times 3. Well, I've got 1 times 3 over 5. 1 times 3 is 3, so I've got 3/5 as my answer. Okay, question number 3, 1 1/4 times 3. Now there is multiple ways of working this out. If it was me, I'm going to change this to an improper fraction. So 1 1/4, well 1 is 4 out of 4 plus 1 out of 4. So I get 5 out of 4 times 3. Okay. So 5 out of 4 came from, so the 5 came from 4 times 1 add 1. 4 times 1 is 4, add 1 is 5. So 5/4 times 3. Now multiplying this, I'm going to get 5 times 3, which is 15. 15 out of 4, guys. And my answer here is an improper fraction, which I can write as a mixed number or a top-heavy fraction. Okay, so the top number is bigger than the bottom number, hence why it's called top-heavy or improper fraction. So the answer is bigger than 1. So how many 4s go into 15? 3, remainder 3. Okay, so 4 times 3 is 12, add 3 is 15. 1/3 times 4, I'm going to get 4/3, which is 1 and 1/3. Okay, 1 times 4 is 4, and then I keep the 3 in the bottom. Okay, so when I multiply a whole number by a fraction, is to multiply the numerator by the whole number and keep the denominator the same number. Okay, next one, multiplying fractions. What is 1/3 times 1/4? Now, when we multiply fractions by a fraction, all I do is multiply the numerators together and multiply the denominators together. So nice and easy. 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 4 is 12. So the answer becomes 1/12. Okay? So this is a quarter of a rectangle. A quarter times a third, okay, or a third of a quarter is 1/12. Okay, so we can see it here on the next slide that this is a third of a quarter. Okay, so the previous slide actually showed us the quarter. So this is a third of a quarter. Okay, so it's 1/12. Next one, we got 2/5 times 3/5. Now, all I do here is do 2 times 3 over 3 times 5. Now, there is like a little trick here that I can actually cancel before my final answer. I've got 3 on the top here and I've got 3 on the bottom, so I can cancel these two and I get 1 and 1. So essentially I get 2 times 1, which is 2, and then 1 times 5 is 5. So the answer is 6/15, as you'll see on the next slide, but it simplifies to 2/5. 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 5 is 15, but this simplifies to 2/5, because 3 is my highest common factor, guys. Okay? So here we go. So this is 2/3 of 3/5 of the rectangle, or 6/15 of the rectangle. 6/15 can simplify to 2/5 by dividing top and bottom by 3. Okay. So that is the mathematical way of doing it. Next one, feel free guys to pause the video actually and have a go at these questions and then press play if you're happy and if you're ready, okay? But I'm going to have a go at these questions. 1/5 times 3/7. Well, 1 times 3 is 3 and 5 times 7 is 35. So the answer becomes 3 out of 35, guys. Okay. The next one, 3/4 times 4/5. Well, 3 times 4 is 12, and 4 times 5 is 20. So I'm going to get 12 out of 20, which can simplify to dividing top and bottom by 4. I'm going to get 3/5. 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. Right guys, next few, 2/3 times 1/6. 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 6 is 18. 2/18 simplifies to 1/9. Okay, dividing top and bottom by 2. The last one guys, 5/6 over times by 3/4. Well, 5 times 3 is 15, 6 times 4 is 24. Okay, and that can't be, oh no, it can, sorry, I apologise. Okay, dividing top and bottom by 3, I'm going to get 5/8. Okay, because if you imagine it here, I can cancel, so that would become 1, that would become 2. 2 times 4 is 8, and then 5 times 1 is 5. Okay, and then here, I can cancel this, I get 1 and 3 there, which is 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 3 is 9. And then here I can cancel the 4 and 4, and I just get 1 and 1. So that answer would be 3 times 1, which is 3, and then 1 times 5, which is 5. Right guys, okay, so the next section now is looking at dividing fractions. Now, when we divide fractions, okay, it is what I call the KFC method. Okay, so it's keep the first fraction, flip the second, and change the division to a times. So when I do division of fractions, sorry, KFC, not KCF, sorry. KFC, sorry. So a third divided by a half. Okay, so I keep the first fraction I flip the second one and then I change it to a times. So I'm going to get 1/3 multiplied by 2/1. Okay, so it's the reciprocal of this, which is 2/3. So the answer is 2/3. Okay. Next one, we've got a half divided by 2/5. Well, dividing by 2/5, so I'll keep half the same. Flip this second one, so I get 5/2, so it's the reciprocal of 2/5. Change it to a times. 1 times 5 is 5, and 2 times 2 is 4. So the answer is going to be 5/4 or 1/4. And this visual example will show you how to work it out. So it says 1 divided by 2, 1/2 divided by 2/5, the same as asking how many lots of 2/5 go into a half. Okay, we've got 2/5, a half, 2/5. So it fits in 5/4. Okay, so there's my answer for that one. Right guys, last part now. Okay, so feel free to pause the video and have a go at these questions and then press play when you're ready. Okay, so 1/5 divided by 3/7. So keep the first fraction the same, flip the second one, and then just times. 1 times 7 is 7, and 5 times 3 is 15. Next one, 3/4 divided by 4/5. So I keep the first fraction the same, flip the second one, and then I just times again. 3 times 5 is 15, 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, so that's my answer for that one, guys. And then last two examples for today's lesson. Okay, 2/3 divided by 1/6 was going to be 2/3 multiplied by 6/1. So I flip the second fraction and change it to a times. 2 times 6 is 12, 3 times 1 is 3, 12 divided by 3 gives me 4. So the answer is just 4 wholes. Okay, so 4 wholes. And then lastly, I've got 5/6 divided by 3/4. Well, working this out, keep the first fraction the same, flip the second fraction, and then change it to a times. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 out of 18 is 10 out of 9, which is 1 1/9. So that is my answer for this question. Okay, so I hope that actually made sense, guys, and feel free to comment below on on the questions that you got correct or ones that you weren't sure on. Okay, so yeah, let me know in the comment section about this. Okay, right, guys. So just to summarize, so this is the last slide actually of the lesson today. Multiplying, dividing with fractions. When multiplying two fractions, multiply the numerators together and then divide the and then the denominators together. Simplify if possible. So just to summarize, A over B times C over D is going to be AC over BD. Okay, so that is all it is. Provided, of course, that B or D isn't 0, because I can't divide by 0. Okay, and then when we divide fractions, turn the second fraction upside down, change the division to a times, then follow the steps for multiplication. Example, 2/7 divided by 2/5. So keep 2/7 the same, flip 2/5, so find the reciprocal, which is 5/2, and then times my answer. 2 times 5 is 10, 7 times 2 is 14, 10/14 simplifies to 5/7. So that is my answer for this question. Okay, so I can cancel there and there. I get 1 and 1. Cancel there and there. I get 1 and 1, which is going to be 5/7. Okay, so that is the video for today, guys. Okay, I hope it made sense. Any questions, any queries, then put it in the comment section. Please comment below. If you've got any topic requests for GCSE, Key Stage 3, Key Stage 2, Key Stage 1, or AS or A2 level maths or further maths. Okay, comment below and I'll do my best to make videos. Okay, thanks for watching and I'll catch you the next one. Bye for now.
So I really hope you enjoyed the collaboration. It's been great fun to be a part of, and thank you again, Abdallah, for all your hard work on multiplying and dividing fractions. I'm hoping to look to do some more collaborations in the future. I know a couple of people have asked me already, so I'm really hoping to develop that as we go on. All right, bye-bye for now.